The Buckeye State of Ohio bucking the trend and getting most of its school districts back to in-person learning today, part of a deal made by Ohio school districts and Governor DeWine, allowing teachers to get vaccinated for the reopenings. And we are pleased to have the governor with us. Governor DeWine, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations. This has been a huge obstacle for many states. Walk us through the process and how we got here.
Sure. Well, January 1st, we had half of our kids who were totally remote. And basically what I told all the schools, and we have 600 and some school districts in the state, so we'd love to have everybody back. Our goal is to have everybody back March 1. And if a school is willing to do that, then we will vaccinate everybody, all the adults in the school. And we actually had them sign a piece of paper where they pledged to come back on March 1. And today, out of 600 and some school districts, we only have 8 that are not back. 7 of those 8 will be back in the next several weeks. So we went from 50% now today better than 90%. And it was just imperative that we did it. It was a tough decision, but we really need to get these kids back in school, particularly kids in the urban districts. We have many children in our big city districts that have not been in school since March. So we're approaching 1 year. And we were just hearing from parents, we were hearing from educators, mayors, the mayors of the big cities of the state said, look, we got to get these kids back in school.
Yeah, the so-called achievement gap is already up to 2 to 3 years. It's going to be, who knows what kind of long-lasting damage there'll be. With this new vaccine that was announced by Johnson & Johnson, how much of that is your state going to get, and how much will that help to continue the reopening process?
Yeah, we're going to get over 90,000 doses this week, the next several days. We're putting those out to independent pharmacies, but also to health departments and to hospitals. So we're spreading it out around the state. It's very exciting. Frankly, that plus the additional doses that we're getting because of the uptick from both Moderna and Pfizer, over 400,000 doses this week. It's enabled us to lower the age to 60. It's enabled us to add police officers, members of the fire department, as well as some other groups. So we're very excited about this.
The stimulus package is it's on its way. The Senate will vote on it. There's a sort of, I guess you can call it a formula for what states get part of that big $350 billion pile of cash. Your feelings on this? I mean, as a governor, maybe you want any kind of money you can get, but it seems like an overkill at this particular point, considering where the overall economy is.
Well, the formula that the House came out with, I don't think is good. A number of the governors wrote a letter, and just basically said, look, this is not fair. What they're doing is they're basing it on unemployment instead of population. And we think they should stick to population. That historically is what Congress has done. And, Ohio, our unemployment is pretty decent. We're about 5.5%. And, we've tried to balance between, keeping things open, but at the same time, keeping people safe. And we brought the business community in very early to kind of design the system and the protocols that would be followed by business. So we've been able to do this. And, we don't think that Ohio and other states, frankly, should be punished for that. We think we should just stay with the normal population formula.
Yeah.
Whatever the Senate ends up doing, we hope that they flip back to that.
Yeah, it feels like the more irresponsible, or at least ham-fisted states were, the more they're going to be rewarded. I want to switch gears a little bit. Former President Trump at CPAC yesterday talking about schools and heaping a whole lot of blame on President Biden. Let's take a watch.
There's no reason whatsoever why the vast majority of young Americans should not be back in school immediately. The only reason that most parents do not have that choice is because Joe Biden sold out America's children to the teachers' unions. His position is morally inexcusable.
Governor, once we learned the science was not necessarily there, I know, to keep these schools closed, I mean, you just cut a deal. I'm sure the teachers union was a major obstacle. Is there a lesson to be learned here?
Well, I think one thing that you and I have not talked about was very important, and I didn't mention it, but we started hearing from teachers. We had a lot of schools who stayed in all year. And then the question was, if Sally in class comes down with the virus, then, who gets quarantined around her? And we followed the CDC. We said anybody within 6 feet would have to be quarantined. Teachers kept coming back to us and said, look, we're quarantining them for a few weeks and no one's getting sick. So what we did is we actually went out into our schools, 7 different school districts, and we did a test. We started testing kids that were close to somebody who came down with it. And we also did a control group. And what we found was that it was about 3% for the control group was positive, about 3% for those who had actually been, quote, been close to someone and were able to be exposed. And so what it showed us was that when everyone's wearing a mask in classroom, and kids were very good about it, teachers have been great about it. When that was happening, we were frankly not seeing much spread at all in the classroom. So that was another piece of evidence that when we talked, when teachers would say, is it safe to go back? A legitimate question. Our answer is, look, we tested and we showed that in the classroom, at least, there's no spread. Plus, now we're going to vaccinate the teachers and everybody else in the school that wants the vaccine.